They seemed like the perfect neighbors until we realized they never leave. Something in the air keeps everyone confined to their homes. The moving truck groaned to a halt, the sound unnaturally loud in the stillness of Maple Street. Sarah stepped out, the scent of freshly cut grass and damp earth filling the air. It was perfect. A quiet suburban haven, the kind of place you saw in movies. Neat lawns, white picket fences, houses spaced comfortably apart. Their new home, number 42, looked just as charming as the real estate photos promised. Their son, Ben, bounced on the porch steps, already planning adventures in the seemingly endless green space between the houses. But a subtle unease prickled Sarah's skin from the very first evening. It wasn't anything specific, just stillness, an unnatural quiet. Across the street, the Hendersons' curtains were drawn, as they had been for the entire viewing process. Next door, the Miller's lights stayed off. Down the block, every house seemed cloaked in an identical, watchful silence. Where were the people, the dogs barking, the kids playing? It felt like a movie set where the extras had all gone home early. Days bled into weeks. The silence deepened. Trash bins were always put away promptly, like clockwork. Cars sat in driveways, gathering dust. No one walked. No one waved. Sarah tried to dismiss it as a neighborhood of introverts, perhaps retirees keeping to themselves. But the feeling of being watched, not by individuals, but by the street itself, grew stronger. It was as if the houses themselves were breathing, holding their collective breath. One restless night, unable to shake the feeling, Sarah nudged her husband Mark. "Let's just walk around the block, just for a minute." The moon cast long, distorted shadows, making the familiar street look alien. As they passed the Hendersons' front window, a faint movement caught Sarah's eye. Not a person, but something shifting behind the heavy drapes. It was too deliberate, too slow to be a draft. A cold dread seeped into her bones. Driven by a morbid curiosity they couldn't name, they approached the Miller's side gate. It was slightly ajar. Peering through the narrow gap, they froze. The Millers weren't inside. Instead, their entire backyard was occupied. Not by people, but by things. Motionless figures stood perfectly still in the moonlight, arranged unnaturally on the lawn. Like mannequins, but with a terrifying realism. They wore clothes, held objects, but were utterly, terrifyingly inert. And surrounding them, emanating from the very soil and crawling up the sides of the house, were faint, shimmering tendrils of something dark and viscous, like shadow given form. It clung to the figures, pulsing with a slow, sickening rhythm. A gasp escaped Mark, too loud in the suffocating quiet. Before they could retreat, the back door of their own house creaked open. Standing there, silhouetted against the hall light, was their elderly neighbor from across the street, Mrs. Gable. Her expression wasn't angry or even surprised. It was placid, accepting. "You should come inside now, dear," she said, her voice unnervingly calm, like a lullaby. "It's time to stay." The shimmering tendrils on the Miller's lawn seemed to stretch, not towards the neighbors, but outwards, like roots seeking purchase. Sarah saw them now, faint outlines, tracing the property lines of every house on Maple Street, pulsing with that same slow, rhythmic life. The air grew thick, heavy. Looking back at their own home, Sarah noticed faint, dark stains creeping up the foundation near the porch steps. The silence wasn't empty anymore. Oh, it was filled with the oppressive hum of the street itself awakening. Some neighbors are just friendly, but these ones never seem to leave. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because sometimes the scariest stories are the true ones.